Nollywood is like that toxic relationship that keeps showing you shaggy. Even when you feel like it's about to get better, something will sha happen, sha that will scatter everything. Because what exactly was this film? I wanted to love Suspicion. I mean, it started well and I was impressed. Suddenly, everything just scattered. See, the conclusion of this film was so confusing. It should actually be a crime. If you watched this film and you understood the end, like you watched it the first time and everything was clear and you knew what they were talking about, in case they've not told you, let me tell you, you are an efiko. Like you are way up there. Because some of us, me, I did not understand it the first time. I had to like take it back again. And I was like, okay. That's what happened. Anyway, welcome to Nigeria Movie Reviews, and today we're talking about the new Nollywood film Suspicion. If you've seen this film, I would like to hear from you. Please let me know your thoughts because but if you've not seen this film and you're trying to decide if it's worth your while or not, I will say stick with me, and by the end of this review, you'll be able to decide if you should watch or skip. In this review, I am going to talk about the things that worked, and I'm going to address the issues with this film. At the end, I am going to rate this film on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you've seen this film, I'd like to hear from you. Please tell me what you thought. It can't be only me that was confused, right? And if you've not seen this film and you're still trying to decide whether you should watch it or not, stick with me. By the end of this review, you'll be able to decide if it's worth your while or not. Suspicion follows the story of a young man called Voke who has extraordinary powers. These powers run within his family. After his friend and goddaughter are killed by some unknown gunmen, he embarks on a journey of revenge against the killers. Like I said in my introduction, Suspicion had so much potential. The storyline was really solid. It was something completely different. But this simple and solid storyline quickly became it became something else that led to a movie ending that was so confusing. It just ruined the whole experience for me. But what did I like about this film? I liked the story. I liked how they positioned what Voke and his family had as powers and not juju. You know, the way typical Nollywood films would demonize jazz, right? I like the way they positioned it because I mean, if we can watch Superman, watch Spider Man do their thing, we can watch Rocket teleport, right? Acting and casting were not bad as well. I really enjoyed watching Tina Mba in this film. Recently, I've seen her in too many poorly made films. I was starting to forget why I actually liked her in the first place, but she did well in this film. Uzor Arekwe's performance was not bad, but I must say his performance was not really properly developed, so he did not get the chance to shine. Omowumi Dada, I had mixed feelings. Some scenes I did not like the delivery at all, but in some scenes it was manageable. As for Stan Nze, his performance was just enough to make the character work. It was not outstanding. It could have been better, but it was not poor. I feel like with a little more push from the director, it could have done much better. Moving on, I liked the setting of this film. I liked the cinematography. I thought they had some really good shots. I liked the fight scenes. They were properly choreographed, in my opinion. I liked the use of effects. In the past, we've seen so many films that they will use effects and everything will just be very rough and poorly done. But I felt like the effect in this film was really clean, and there were some very interesting ones. For instance, I like that scene with the flying chair. There was this scene at the end where that man revealed some like miniature images. I liked that as well. I also like the scene of the boiling pot. In fact, I can give more examples, but I'm just trying to say I liked the effect. It was good. I think those were the things I liked about this film. So what were the issues? Oh my god, the storytelling was weird. When I say weird, I mean weird in such a way that even the things that I thought I liked at the beginning, by the time we got to the middle of the film, it was not making sense at all. Like the questions that I assumed were going to be answered, they were never addressed. And There were so many unnecessary things that I kept on asking myself, was that really necessary? For instance, I liked the way the film started, the whole kidnapping and all. So when they were about to kidnap the child, Rogwa pulled out a gun from his pocket. And I was wondering in my mind, why does he have a gun? Then I assumed maybe he was in some shady business. Maybe he knew the kidnappers because after all, he was saying, leave my child out of this, right? So I thought, okay, he knows these people. There's something going on, right? So I feel like my assumption was further buttressed by the fact that Rogba never went to the police to complain about the kidnapping. Even when he could not reach Voke, he went to the mountain to clear his head. A normal person, a normal father would probably not approach the kidnap of his child like that. So I thought in my mind there's more to this guy. But when I got to the end and I realized that Rogba had nothing to do with the kidnapping, in fact, it was just a regular guy that was taking his child to school. And this was all Chisom's doing. Then the beginning made even less sense. Because, again, why did Rogba have a gun? Then when they killed Lulu, someone called and said her body was in the mortuary. I found out odd as well. It didn't make sense because why would kidnappers kidnap a child, then return the body to a mortuary in the same area where they kidnapped the child, when they could just have dumped her body somewhere to be discovered like weeks or months later even? It didn't really make sense. And I feel like this was the case for like the most part of the film. So many scenes just did not do anything for me. And moving on, I thought attention to detail was not great. Like, even though I liked the effects, still it could have been better. There were some effects that just appeared and disappeared. For instance, there was that scene where Rogba was beating up one of the kidnappers, asking him, "Where is my child? Where will I carry my child go?" And after Voke peed on the bullet and he was able to shoot the guy, we could see the blood splash effect, right? It splashed directly on the wall behind the guy. But you know that a few seconds later, the splash disappeared from the wall. And I'm like, hmm. But I feel the scenes that suffered the most from this attention to detail issue was the teleportation scene. Let me explain. After teleporting, Voke, proper, Voke probably lost about 40 years of his life, judging by the gray hair, right? But you know, something I found very weird about that scene, even though they wanted us to believe that it was now an old man, they did not pay attention to things like his eyes, his lips, his ears, his nose, his neck. None of these things showed the signs that he was now an old man. His body remained the same. They only put like white stuff on his hair and they put some things like this on his face. But his body was still the same. Like, if you want to make it seem that this person aged, right? Do it well. Whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well, because this is not a church drama. You know, if it was a church drama now, typical, you just put powder and everything will be fine. This is a movie, for Christ's sake. Like, if they had paid more attention to Voke's look in that scene, oh my god, it would have been like conveniently one of my best scenes in any Nollywood film, because that would just have been crazy. Then he teleported again and lost even more years, but still everything looked the same. Like, personally, I feel like he should not even have been able to walk. So yeah, attention to details was not great. Another issue I had with this film was the character build up and utilization. I thought it was poor. The entire movie, we were just looking forward to the reveal of the face behind the mask, right? That was what we were looking forward to. But by the time they revealed that it was Rogba, it was so underwhelming. Like, I did not expect Rogba to just die like that. What do you mean that Chisom urinated on the bullet and it killed him? Was that not the same thing that was able to, was that not the same thing they used at the beginning for that other guy that they were trying to shoot? So if that worked on that guy, should it work on Rogba as well? So the way he just died like that was just deflating. Like, I'm like, okay, so we anticipated up until this point for you to just kill him like that, right? Even though they eventually revealed that there was like a greater villain, I still felt like Rogba's character could have been more compelling. Another character that I thought was not great was Voke's character. This guy is supposed to be like very, at least quite powerful. He's supposed to be the hero, right? But I felt like it was a very bland hero, full stop. And I would not be explaining myself because I think it writes itself. Like it's just very clear. Finally, let's talk about the most problematic part of this film, the conclusion. Hey, God. See, they've explained it several times, and I feel like I understand it now. RMD is actually the evil god. RMD is the evil mind behind everything. He's powerful. He was the one that blocked Voke's mother's vision when Lulu was kidnapped. RMD is also the one who disguised as Mr. Pious. He paid someone to kill Rogba and also paid the people searching for Rogba's body to stop looking. And he did all this just because he wanted to get to Voke. But my brother and sister, the question is, get Voke for what? What exactly is the bigger purpose? Even if they did not explain everything yet, they should have established the big picture. What exactly was at stake? I just did not understand why one random evil god was randomly introduced and this random guy went through so much unnecessary trouble just to get Voke. Like the stakes were too low and it just didn't make any sense. I felt like he didn't even need to do all of those things to get Voke. If he had appeared when Voke was looking for his goddaughter and his friend and said, I'll help you find them, but in exchange you have to do this for me, I feel like Voke would have agreed. So I honestly don't know the reason behind all the drama. Then, when they got to the end, the fact that they had to rely on multiple stories to connect the dots, still, it wasn't dotting. Like, even with all the stories, it wasn't connecting because there were still so many things that they didn't explain. Like the blade, the connection. I was waiting for that explanation, but I never got anything, right? I feel like every new revelation was more confusing and more disappointing than the first, earning them one long hiss after another from me while I was watching. Like, none of the revelations made me cheer or say, oh my God, that's crazy, that's exciting. For me, it was just like, oh, okay. Oh, that was what happened. Oh, okay. I honestly cannot believe that I sat through the whole film just to get that kind of ending. I'll round up my review by saying when the film started, I really liked how they positioned Juju as powers. So I hated the fact that at the end, they still reduced the whole thing to the typical money ritual and sacrifice direction. I would have liked it if they maintained the tone they started with. I would have liked it if this whole thing was for something bigger, something more sinister, something capable of affecting a larger group of people. After all, what's a superhero movie or a superhero character without a bigger purpose, right? With that being said, if I was to rate this film, I will rate it a 4 over 10. I know some people would say that's too low, some would say that's too high, but that's why I'm here actually to aggregate all these conflicting thoughts and review these films as objectively as possible. I know some people will come and say more information will be revealed in the sequel, but since when has anything been revealed in a Nollywood sequel? Honestly, I'm not looking forward to it. Most Nollywood sequels are always like their excuse to explain and justify plot points that didn't make sense. They try to clean their spilled milk, straighten out knots they forgot to untie. And most times they even fail at it. But we'll wait and see what happens with this one. Overall, while Suspicion was not a terrible watch, it was a very, very, very unsatisfying experience. It was an engaging mystery that could have been great, but it was ruined by one disappointing review after another. Have you seen this film? What did you think about it? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.